Hello, author and writer friends. Welcome back to the Write It podcast. Author Deanna Martinez Bay here, and today we are going to discuss fiction writing nature settings. So, let me start by saying that I also dabble in nature photography. I love it. And what I'll do somewhere throughout this podcast is I will add photos of some of the nature photography that I have taken so that you can take a look, because I have to say some of them are really pretty. So, let's think about the climate where your story is going to be set, okay? Do you have a clear image in your mind? Is it sweltering or frigid? Do you see cactus or snow-piled mountains? Is it raining cats and dogs, or is the sun shining brightly in the sky without a cloud in sight? So what is it? Right? Because it's important. It's important for us to determine the climate where our story is taking place. This way, everything else we write about our story plays into that, and it all kind of comes together and makes sense. You with me? Okay. So these facts or questions that I presented are more important than you think when you're writing a novel or a novella. Why? Because the reader has to be transformed to where your story is being told. Okay? So before you begin describing the natural aspects of your setting, decide on the geographical location. Okay, so by doing this, it will make the details of describing much easier. So let me give you an example. I have a book coming out March 6th, 2025. And the main character lives on a lake. And it is summer and spring. And keeping all of that in mind, I have to weave those details into the story so that the reader understands where the character lives and what season it is pertaining to the story. Does that make sense? So decide on the location of your story. Are you going to write a story that takes place in Washington, like the state of Washington, where they get a lot of rain, a lot of mist, a lot of gray days? Because once you decide on your location, that helps you pinpoint the climate, right? So, a lot of authors may not have given this any thought, but it really is important. If I am going to write a book that takes place in Alaska, I have to make sure that I'm sharing with my readers the northern lights and the amount of snow and the amount of darkness that this particular city may have. Some cities in Alaska have darkness 24 hours a day for part of the year, and others don't. So you really need to determine exactly where your story is going to take place. Okay? So if you have never been to the geographical location of your story, please be sure that you do plenty of research before you begin writing about it. For reasons that I just said, because some places in Alaska, like I said, have like 24 hours of darkness a certain amount of days a year, but then there's other towns in Alaska that doesn't happen. If you have to know enough about the climate and the visuals in order to take the reader away from where they are to that place. So research is key. Research is key. Now, personally, I enjoy the research. So I wrote a book, and the book took place in Asheville, North Carolina. Now, yes, I've been there, but the main place that the story took was at a college. So I had to go and research the college because I had never been to the college before. I had been to Asheville, but not the college. So I had to go and research every little detail about the college so that I could transport my readers there. And I had a good time. I had fun with that. I learned a lot, first of all, and I was able to transport my readers. The name of that book was Cook on the Bright Side. Okay, so ask your questions to ask yourself about the climate of your story location. Okay, so is it hot or cold? What will people wear? For example, are they going to need coats or bathing suits? Is everything green and lush, or is it more brown and barren? Right? Will there be high rises and apartments, or white houses with picket fences? Concrete patios or miles of grassy land? Okay? Rain, snow, sunshine, tornadoes, hurricanes, avalanches. You've got to know, right? So these are all questions that you need to ask yourself. I think I proposed enough questions to get you thinking about the natural details, right? So be sure to transport your reader to the setting of your story. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to read a couple of these things to you again if you want to make notes. We'll start with this. Is it sweltering or frigid? Do you see cactus or cacti or snow pile mountains? Is it raining or is the sun shining bright in the sky without a cloud in sight? Is it hot? Is it cold? Maybe somewhere in between. What will people be wearing? If it's cold, they're going to wear coats with gloves. If it's hot, they're going to wear tank tops and shorts and bathing suits. Is everything green and lush because it's a warmer weather climate, or brown and barren? Will there be high rises and apartments like in the city, or will there be houses with white picket fences in the country? Concrete patios, miles of grassy land with cows, farms. Rain, snow, sun, tornadoes, hurricanes, avalanches. What is it? So these are things that we need to determine before we start writing our story. So let me give you a little tip, okay? So with every book that I write, I use a new notebook and a pink pen. But I always write out at the beginning of the story all about my characters, everything I can think of about them, what they look like, their age, where they live, if they're married, do they have children, do they have pets. But in addition to writing down all these details about the characters, I also write out the details about where they live. Do they live in a house, in an apartment? Then I take it a step further. Is the house meticulous? Is the apartment cluttered? Because this is going to give way to the personality of my main character. Okay? Then I answer all these questions that I proposed to you today about the climate, because it is important. When I wrote the book about Asheville, okay, we're going to have 4 seasons, but winters are the harshest of all 4. Okay? So that's something else to determine. 4 seasons? 2 seasons? 1 season? It depends. All right, so I hope you guys have found this helpful. My goal here is to help other authors and writers be as successful as possible. Okay, so if you liked this podcast episode, I ask that you please give me a thumbs up. Please give me a like and subscribe to my channel so that I can continue to provide you with more helpful information. All right, so here's to happy writing. And if you have any questions or you'd like to add to anything that I talked about today, positive comments are always welcome. Have a fantastic day, friends. See you soon.